Ohio State and Ryan Day, they have evolved. A lot of people are like, well, hang on, what does that mean? They have evolved. But at the same time, it's still players over plays. Saturday's game was very, very simple. There were two elite defenses on the field. But you know the biggest difference in Saturday's game? One team had Marvin Harrison, and the other team did not. Now, if you look at Marvin Harrison, it wasn't even his best game. He had a couple drops in the first half, but there was never a doubt that when there was a play that needed to be made, it was going in the direction of Marvin Harrison. Every time. Now, you also take into account who he did it against. It's not like Penn State's chopped liver. Penn State entered the game with the nation's top-ranked pass defense. They gave up just 121 yards per game through the air coming into Saturday's game. Marvin Harrison exceeded that mark all by himself. He was tremendous in this game. But here's where Ryan Day has evolved. Last year and in previous years, it felt like Ryan Day, not saying he had tunnel vision by any stretch, but there was clearly something that he did, whether it's in how they scheduled their practice, whether it's in how they handled off season, what they targeted in the portal, what they prioritized on the recruiting trail. There was clearly a heavier emphasis on creating opportunities offensively. And the defense, for whatever reason, it was kind of put on the back burner a little bit. Just a little bit. Not to the extent in which they, didn't care about the defense, but they utilized tempo. They wanted to emphasize scoring points. They wanted to highlight their elite wide receiver play. They wanted to highlight their quarterback. That was totally understandable. They had great quarterbacks the last handful of years, and it's pretty amazing the receiver talent that they've had and the running back talent that they've had and the amount of points they could score. But they did so at the expense of their defense from time to time. Just 1 year removed, against Michigan, Georgia, and Penn State, against those three teams, they gave up 118 combined points in those games. In their two ranked matchups this year, they've given up just 26 points. That's amazing. I mean, that is amazing. Now, you can say what you want. Well, what about, is Notre Dame's offense any good? Is Penn State's offense any good? I think those are reasonable questions. I can live with that. But Penn State had 6 points in the game, not for the garbage time touchdown there at the very end. So I am thoroughly impressed with how Ryan Day has obviously, he's enabled Jim Knowles to be who he is, and Jim Knowles is amazing, I might add. He's done a great job with his personnel and a great job with their structure and maybe not being quite as aggressive and just allowing the players to be the best players they can be by playing fast and sound without trying to dictate too much on that side of the ball. But Ryan Day has also, I think, helped his defense out with how he's managed his offense. And as a result, they're coming together in a really nice fashion. While it's not the track meets that we've seen traditionally from Ohio State, man, they know how to play complementary football. And here's the other thing about Ohio State. If you want to win a national championship, there's a couple things that you have to be able to do. You have to, one, be capable of weathering the storm and battling adversity. Because there's going to be a time throughout the course of the season where things don't go your way, or you give up a big play, or you make a big mistake. So let's point to last week's game. There were countless missed opportunities for Penn State. Okay, countless. Obviously, you have the holding penalty on Kalen King that wiped away the defensive touchdown for Curtis Jacobs. That would have been real easy for Ohio State to be a little bit rattled after that circumstance. They weren't. How about this? The fact that they had the punt late in the third quarter, bounces backwards, hits Lorenzo Styles, and now Penn State has a golden opportunity at midfield to be able to go and maybe take over the game at that point. Well, how about this? JT Tuimoloau has the 8-yard sack, and then they have a 3rd and 15. It's pretty amazing to me that they were able to weather the storm there in a sudden change situation where it could have slipped away. It didn't. And that's a testament to the mental toughness of this Ohio State football team. So you got to be able to weather the storm and battle adversity. They showed that this past weekend. That's one major takeaway from the game. But here's takeaway number 2. If you want to win a national championship, you better have really competitive depth. Ohio State was shorthanded in this game. Without Emeka Egbuka, you're without Travion Henderson, and you're without Denzel Burke. So they weren't at full strength whatsoever. But an example of the competitive depth being on display, Denzel Burke's out, no problem. Let's put in Jermaine Matthews. His first major extended playing time, obviously was a highly recruited kid. I think he was a 4-star prospect, 5-star prospect, whatever he was, highly recruited kid. Well, he goes in the game, doesn't miss a beat, has 3 tackles, a pass breakup, and did not give up a single big play in the game. That is massive. Their competitive depth, even in the absence of some of their best players, was able to step up, fill the void, and as a result, they got a comfortable victory against the best team they've played so far this season.